How's it going, everybody? It's Stas here, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys the top stocks and ETFs that I'm watching right now and looking to trade as we're slowly wrapping up the month here of April in 2020. And just like we go over every single Sunday here on the channel, I want to break down the ES, the E-mini S&P futures, the NASDAQ futures, as well as the Dow futures, and go over some companies that are reporting earnings this upcoming week. And let me tell you guys, this week, all of the Goliath companies are reporting. Apple, Amazon, Facebook, McDonald's. So we have a lot to talk about when it comes to those companies. And in general, I want to just share with you guys kind of where my head's at with the market right now. So if you guys enjoy the video, all I ask from you is to hit that like button for me and consider subscribing to the channel. And feel free to join our Discord chat and our Facebook group linked down below in the description box if you want to be further connected with the Strive Smart community, and those platforms are 100% free of charge. So let's get into it, guys. Starting off briefly, going over what the S&P did over these past couple of days so we can get a brief understanding of where the market is currently at, right? So the S&P, we actually had a down week last week, very slight down week, but overall we did finish the week red. You guys can see here on the 20th of April, we were at 28.70. We gapped down to 27.27, and we pretty much held this range here for the entire week, 27.30 to about 28.70. And at this point, like I've been mentioning on this channel in these videos, we're at a very critical level of resistance on the S&P. And quite honestly, we have been at this level for the past couple of days, and you guys can see how difficult it's been for the S&P to get out of this level. And the level I'm talking about is around 2880 to about, I guess you can say 2850 actually, to about 2900, putting us right under this 180 SMA here on the 4-hour chart. And mind you, a couple months ago, back in August to December, or rather August to October, this level was a very big sticking point, 2860 to about 2900 for the S&P. So needless to say, for the bulls to take full charge here, we need to see, or the bulls, right? Because I'm not a bull or a bear. I just trade the trend, right? That's kind of how I do it. But for the bulls to take over, we need, or rather, again, they need to get us above 2,900 into the 3,000 level. At that point, we're going to be breaking major levels of resistance, right? And when it comes to the E-mini S&P 500 futures, they're not looking too great right now. We're not gapping down immensely like we've seen in previous weeks, but still down about 0.4%, down about $10.25. And mind you guys, this means that, yet again, the S&P is struggling to break out of that 2850-ish level, right? So for tomorrow, in terms of these futures and what I'm looking at, heading into the session tomorrow, I want to see, are we going to hold 2800? This is very critical. 2800, we failed there a couple times previously. I think if we hold it as a support and then rally up from there, that would be very, very good for the bulls, right? That's something that I'm watching for in the morning. But let's say we break 2,800, we slowly start to go to 2,750. That would be good for the bears, right? So that 2,800 level, that is what I'm watching like a hawk for the next couple of hours. And honestly, from the moment I wake up to the time the market opens, that is the level on the S&P that I'm personally watching here. And when it comes to the NASDAQ, guys, down 0.25% right now, nothing crazy, down 21 points, but just like the S&P, we're at a critical level right here, 8,700 to about 8,750 for the bulls. We need to break that level. The bulls need to break that level, right, to the upside and make a rally for 9K. But let's say the bears take over 8,700. They could easily push us down to about 8,500, 8,460, right? That is very possible, as that is the next gap down range that we see here, 8,460 to about 8,500. So in general, guys, those are some levels to watch on the NASDAQ, the S&P, the Dow futures right now, down about 55 points, down 0.25%. And you guys will notice there is a bit of struggle for the Dow at about 23.7 to about 24,000 bucks. So for the bulls to win, they need to take over that level. And obviously, if the bears take over here, we slowly start to slip lower 23,000. There could be more selling at that point. Technically speaking, that wouldn't be too pretty for the bulls out there. But for the bears, they'd be having a party, right? If that did end up happening, right? So overall, guys, those are what the futures are looking like right now. If you're watching this in a couple of hours, a lot of things might have changed because, like you guys know, the futures are very volatile, especially in this time period that we're in. So if you're watching this and the futures are gapping up, we might go green tomorrow. We might rally in the morning and see a lot of push in a lot of the large cap stocks. Let's be honest, guys. The ones like Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and again, all of these, they're reporting earnings this week. So it's going to be a very crazy week, to say the least. And I'd love to know what you guys have to think about what's going to happen this week in the stock market, individual stocks, ETFs. I'd love to know your opinion. Let me know down below, right down there. You see that? The comment section, let me know what you guys think. So, earnings this week. Let's get into it. And I didn't even mention Tesla, guys. Tesla is reporting earnings on, I believe, the 29th. Yup, 4/29, which is towards the end of the week here. 4/29 being, I think, Wednesday or Thursday. So in general, technically speaking here on Tesla, it is, I believe, slowly actually breaking out of the trend right now. You guys can notice on this hourly chart, we almost hit 800 bucks. We retraced down to about 660. As I was screaming on the channel, Tesla needs a pullback. It finally got the pullback, and now we're rallying above this 180 SMA on this this hourly chart, and we're slowly breaking out of the downtrend. So Tesla at this point could be on the verge of a potential breakout. And you guys can see it here. If we get anywhere in, I'd say, the 730s, 740s, there could be a lot of volume. There could be a big push there. Buyers might start coming in, and that could get this thing up to 800 again. And mind you, I don't hold stocks through earnings. That's not my game. But maybe we see a rally in Tesla, excuse me, guys, before earnings. This thing can rally up before earnings, especially if there's hype behind the potential earnings that Tesla might post. And at this point, I'm not too sure, if there's a lot of hype behind it, but I'm going to be watching delivery numbers, sales, EPS, all of that. And usually Tesla's very volatile after hours, guys, so be mindful of that. Another conglomerate reporting is Amazon, ticker symbol AMZN. It was up about 0.5% on Friday. And notice Amazon's at a sticking point. Amazon has been struggling at about 2,400 bucks, 2,450, as the market has been teeter-tottering as well. The S&P right around 2,800 bucks. Since Amazon's a large cap company, S&P teeters off. Typically, Amazon is going to be right there with it. Not all the time, but you guys can see as the S&P has been teetering off, so has Amazon. So at this point, I would not really buy Amazon, to be honest. It's so overinflated, in my opinion. And if they disappoint on earnings, we could see a big drop because a lot of optimism is clearly priced into Amazon stock at this point. But let's say we get a breakup, which is also possible. The breakout area I'm watching, as you guys can see, is going to be 2420, 2450, right? If we break this level, watch out, guys. Watch out above, especially if we have a good earnings report for Amazon. This thing could definitely go to 2,500. That's my opinion. 2,550. It's possible. That's if they do well with earnings and with everything going on, global crisis, CV, people ordering on Amazon a lot more, people not leaving their houses. We might see a good earnings report here for Amazon. And again, the stock is kind of pricing that in right now, I'd say. So, be careful. Disappointment could bring the stock down, right? So another company's reporting, Apple, AAPL. Apple's at an interesting spot too. $280, guys. We broke and closed above that old resistance as a support. That is very, very good. Now I'm going to watch for that move up to maybe 290, 285, maybe $300. That's the next, potential spot we could be at, judging off of this chart. And like Amazon, if Apple does well with earnings, which honestly, I don't think they're going to have their best quarter. Obviously, they're not going to do great, but it could push us up. It could push us up from 280 to 285, 290, but it could also drop like a rock, which again is why I don't like holding stocks through earnings when I'm trading them. If I'm in a long-term investment, it's completely different. If I'm swing trading, I don't like swing trading through earnings. So another stock is MSFT, also known as Microsoft, guys. And Microsoft did pretty well on Friday, up about 2%, despite the markets actually not going up 2%, at least for my memory. Yup. So that means Microsoft did better than the markets on Friday, but that doesn't really matter. What matters is A, they're reporting earnings this week, and B, we're holding this trend, as you guys can see, and mind you, they're reporting earnings on the 29th. We're holding this trend here on the hourly chart quite nicely, and the trend you guys are seeing is the 180 SMA trend on this hourly chart, and we're also holding the red trend line that I drew, meaning the pattern is intact. And for me to get into Microsoft, as you know, a short-term day trade, maybe an overnight swing trade, whatever, we're going to need to see a break above 175. 175 is critical. We failed there on the 23rd. We closed right under it on the 24th. So I'm thinking if it breaks above 175, we may see a rally and a quick one back to the 180s, especially if these markets are pushing green and if Microsoft reports good earnings, which, guys, it's going to be a crazy week with all of these trillion-dollar companies, the biggest companies in the world, reporting earnings. It's going to be fun. And another company that's reporting is Boeing, ticker symbol BA. This one got clobbered on Friday, trading back in the 120s now, down 6.36%, down almost $9 per share. So for me, guys, out of any of these stocks, Boeing is the last one that I want to get involved with. Maybe a short play. Short play could be good here on Boeing, especially based on these technicals of, a potential lower low coming. And, if we get negative earnings here, this thing could definitely fall through the floor. And I'm not sure, no one's really sure at this point, but if their bad earnings are already priced into the stock, we might see this thing fall through the floor, especially with all the issues they've been having, which has impacted their revenue. Boeing's definitely one to watch out for. AMD is another big stock. A lot of people like this stock, very popular stock. It's reporting earnings on the 28th of April. And based on the technicals right now, guys, we're above $55. And I was screaming last week, $55 if we close above it, if we break above it. AMD has a very good opportunity to maybe retest $59 or maybe even break and go to the 60s, guys, especially with a solid earnings report here. And, the key is these earnings reports, guys. This week is going to tell us a lot. Are we going, I think at least this week is going to be a key determining factor in what direction that we're going to be moving in the short term when it comes to the overall markets. If these companies botch earnings, they do very poorly, guidance is terrible, which most likely it will be, the market could take a hit, guys. So it's it's a good idea to be quick, sweet, and short with your moves this week, at least in my opinion, and have that cash ready to go because you never know what is going to happen. So another company here that I'm watching, guys, let me see if my notes will load. Facebook and McDonald's. And I'm interested in seeing not really what Facebook does. They're crushing it at this point. I'm waiting for a pull down in terms of their earnings. I'm not really curious. I am curious, but what I'm more interested in is going to be McDonald's earnings. These restaurant stocks, which arguably have been hit the hardest out of many of the other stocks out there. Not the hardest, but they've been hit pretty hard. The McDonald's of the world, and mind you, Starbucks is reporting earnings, and they've been hit hard as well. So I'm interested in seeing, same-store sales, kind of how much revenue they lost, profits they lost from, year over year, what the guidance is looking like for the next couple of quarters. This is kind of what I'm looking at for these stocks like Starbucks and McDonald's, right? So when it comes to earnings reports, guys, those are the top ones that I'm watching for this upcoming week. And let me read those back to you so you guys can write them down or, jot them down, whatever. Tesla, Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Boeing, Advanced Micro Devices, AMD, Facebook, and McDonald's, and Starbucks. There's many more companies reporting, but those are the top 10-ish that I'm watching, that I'm, keeping my eyes peeled for, as these are, massive companies that are going to show kind of, obviously their numbers and how consumers are behaving in this time period. So let's break down Shopify, another stock here that I'm watching. They're reporting earnings on the 6th of May, so we have some time there, but we saw a very bullish move here on Shopify on Friday. We got to about $606. We rallied all the way to $650. Whoever caught that move, congrats. That was a very solid move. I didn't catch it. But look where we ended up closing above. We closed above an old resistance as a new support. This is what I was talking about last week, guys. We had a double top on Shopify, right? Double top on Shopify. And mind you, guys, we held it. We held it as a support. That is very good. And what that's telling me is we're going to be rallying back up to, let's say, 660 potentially, 650, 665. And that's the move that I'm looking to capitalize on here for Shopify. And, out of all the stocks that we talked about in today's video, is Shopify the best one? Probably not. Let me be honest. Probably not, because it is very inflated, but it doesn't mean it does not offer short-term potential. We might be able to get a short-term move here, which is kind of what I'm waiting for. And, this is going to be a very quick in and out type of move, in my personal opinion. Another stock here that I'm watching is Snapchat, ticker symbol SNAP. This thing is finally cooling off a bit. We had an earnings report a couple days ago. The stock was up 40%. The next day, we hit about $17. Now we're cooling off to the 16s. And take a look where we're consolidating, right on that 50 SMA support on the hourly chart. And if we zoom out a bit, let's take a look at what's going on this 2-hour chart. Arguably, we may, go down a bit further. But taking a look at this, look at where we ended up bottoming out at a couple months ago, back in the beginning of February. $16.50 to about $16. And that is exactly where we are now. So that means we're at a support. Snapchat, if we rally back into the 1630s, 40s, that could be an opportunity to get in on the confirmation on this stock. And another company that reported last week was WWE. And they did very well, up about 15%. I think they reported on Friday. Let me double check that. No, maybe the day before, Thursday. Either way, they did very well in terms of the stock's price. And judging on the overall trend here on WWE, that break puts us out of the 50 moving average resistance, meaning there could be in the short term here some upside, and there could be some downside too. But overall, the overall trend is down. But what I'm saying here is we may see a bit more of a rally, maybe to the 50s, 45s, 46, 7, before we end up dumping off, because again, the overall trend is down. So those are some thoughts there on WWE. Zoom is another company stock that I'm watching. It got decimated on Friday, down about 6%, down $10.29. After hours, we dropped even more, down to about $155. And why did Zoom drop like a brick? Well, Facebook announced they're coming out with their own version of Zoom, which for my reading, you don't even need to have an account for it. And obviously, everybody has a Facebook. Not everybody, but everybody pretty much has a Facebook. So the barrier of entry there is not as big as it is for Zoom, in my opinion. But I said on Friday, and I'll say it again, I think Zoom and Facebook can coexist. We see a lot of these competing companies coexist and do well. If you look at the payments industry, you have PayPal, you have Square, you have Facebook's coming out with a payment platform. Alibaba has one, and they all do well. Obviously some do better than others, but in my opinion, Zoom can definitely coexist with Facebook, but still Facebook will probably steal some of its lunch. We'll see kind of how the competition fares there, and only time will tell, but I think Zoom will be okay. You guys saw they got listed on the NASDAQ 100, I believe Thursday or Friday, which is solid. Their users back in December were just 10 million, and now they're 300 million, which is a 30x increase in just the past couple of months, which is incredible. So I'm watching Zoom. Am I throwing money in it right now? No, but if it rallies back into the 160s, 165 territory, this could definitely be an opportunity, especially as we are seeing a little green candle form here on the hourly chart after hours on Friday. So I'm watching Zoom, and another one here is SPCE, also known as Virgin Galactic. And this is in a similar situation as, what was that other stock? Tesla. Take a look at their patterns. Pretty similar. Descending. We're still in a downtrend, but at the same time, we're squeezing tight with that moving average, kind of causing a wedge. If you guys see on Space, it's the same thing. Actually, we broke below the moving averages, but either way, we're kind of in this wedge here. So are we going to pick the upside here? Are we going to gap up above $17.50, 60 back into the $18 range, which would be very bullish? Or are the bears going to take over and get us below $16, and that would be bearish, right? What are we going to do? That's what I'm waiting for here for Space. I'm waiting for the confirmation, either up or down, and then from there, guys, I'm going to make my decision on whether or not I want to go long or short, right? So at this point, guys, another key thing on SPCE is it held the trend. It held the trend based on Friday's session. You guys can see it here. Ever since the market took a hit, SPCE got to $10, higher low at 12, and now this could be another higher low at 16. But again, we need to see the confirmation of the pop. So in terms of stocks, guys, those are a lot of stocks that I'm watching. We just went over like 10 to 15 stocks. Now let's take a look at what gold is doing. Gold is actually ripping right now, up 0.4% in terms of these futures, up $7.30. And if you guys don't know how to trade gold, there's different ways. You can trade gold miners stocks, right, which kind of do very well when gold's up because their profits are derived from the price of gold pretty much. If the higher the price of gold, the more profits they make. And one that I like is GDX. It's a ETF, so it's a lot of these gold miner stocks in one tradable fund. And another good thing about these miner stocks is, have you guys noticed crude oil? You guys know? Who doesn't know? Crude oil has gotten crushed. And what do these miners companies, these gold mines, what do they use as energy? They use oil. And with price of oil lower, that's good for them as well. So lower oil, higher gold price, that is good for these miner stocks, right? But one thing that's not good is if the mines get shut down based on this virus. That's a very big risk here with these, but as the virus subsides, the theory with GDX and gold in general is kind of as the government continues to print money supply goes up, inflation goes up. Gold is more of a safe haven, right? So the idea here is people are going to flood to gold, push the price up, as gold becomes more scarce, right? People are going to mine it. They're going to make money, and that's kind of why I like the miner stocks here, especially in this time period that we're in, where we're at the end of a 10, 12-year bull run, guys. And technically, we're back in a bull run now. I know we're back in a bull run, but, I'm still not buying the whole market's going to the moon again. I've said that in many videos. I still think there is some more pain to come, but like I say always, guys, we're playing the trend right now. We're following the trend. Throw your biases out the window, ride the trend, make money, whether it's going up or down. And another way to trade gold is GLD. GLD is kind of the best way to track the price of gold with an ETF. Let's say you don't own gold physically. Many people don't. I'd say most people watching this channel don't. If you actually do, though, let me know down below in the comments. But if you don't own physical gold, GLD could be a way to track the price of gold, because the ETF, that's what it's meant to do, track the price of gold. So buying some of this, if you think gold is going to do well in the short term, 1,800, 1,900 an ounce, 2,000, you can make a lot of money trading GLD, and again, some of these gold mining stocks, and maybe some of these ETFs as well. So I'm going to wrap up the video here, guys. If you did enjoy it, and take a look at that, the futures, before I end off the video, the futures are filling the gap. So I guarantee you guys, if you're following or you're watching this now, markets, the futures may be green, so we'll see. Either way, I'm not changing the title of the video, guys. That's one thing. When I title the Sunday videos, it's kind of hard because the futures always go up and down. But either way, we're keeping the title the same. And that's it for the video. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, and again, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you guys actually want 2 free stocks from Webull, one of them being valued up to $1,400, check out my affiliate link down below in the description box. All you have to do is put in $100 into the account, and you get those 2 free stocks. Again, one of them valued up to $1,400. The other one's valued up to $500. So go get your free money, linked down below in the description box. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. Hope you all crush it this week in the market. I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out, guys. How's it going, everybody? It's Stas